know, you're asking me if I get sick of being a bodybuilder? Never. I mean, I love lifting weights. That's what I do.
Let's go, Jay. Come on. Come on. Doc brings the show. Come on.
Almost every night, seriously. When is he coming in? When's he coming in next?
What do you think people think when they see Jay in the gym?
Most of them can't believe that they can get that big. Be honest with you.
First time you see him, it's a lot of looks. Everyone goes, shakes his hand, interrupts his workouts, takes pictures.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
But Jay has never turned one person down ever to take a picture, to do an autograph, to talk to someone. He's always went out of his way to help everyone out. When Jay comes in, everyone wants to be like Jay. Not like Mike. Everyone wants to be like Jay.
The biggest achievement that I never expected was to give the motivation to a lot of people when I was just trying to be motivated myself to go to the gym. You know, I train in public because I don't want to be surrounded and locked in the lifestyle to the extreme. I mean, I live in it day in, day out. You know, I'm cooking and training and never stepping out of the shoes of being who I am, and that's Jay Cutler, the bodybuilder. So for me, I have my own sanctuary, which is pretty much my office that, you know, here I look around at the achievements. I'm surrounded by what my life from the beginning to now has become. So for me, it's enough for me. And yes, I have some function equipment in the gym, like cardiovascular and that kind of things, which are necessary in the morning. I don't want to have to drive to the gym, so that allows me to be able to get in what I need to. And of course, I'd leave all the weights to the gym. They have the most weights. I like to do variety. You know, I move heavy dumbbells, so, you know, I work anywhere between 25 and to, you know, 160-pound dumbbells most often. So that'd be kind of a big collection to have in your home gym. And the way I look at it is I'm always going to weight train, but not to that extreme. You know, I think when I retire, I mean, throwing around 100-something pound dumbbells, I mean, that's probably not going to happen as much. So it's kind of pointless to build something that's not forever. You know, I think the biggest misconception is that we do things really extremely different. And that's not necessarily the case. I mean, it's very, very basic what a professional bodybuilder does, and I'm just speaking on my own behalf. I mean, I've been basic since the beginning. You know, I had a certain amount of genetics that I was blessed with. You know, I started on a specific diet. I stuck with the basics of training. I get a common question all the time. People approach me and they say, Jay, what's the secret? What's the secret? And there is no secret. The secret is progression, consistency, dedication, day in, day out. There's certain body parts I do like to train harder. You know, I might train arms a little lighter, whereas, you know, back training, leg training is a lot heavier and harder. What I like to usually do is structured, you know, rest days around those training days, because sometimes it can be pretty intense. Anyone asks me, what are you training tomorrow? I usually have an idea, but if they ask me what time, I couldn't even tell you the time I wake up in the morning, what time I'll go to the gym. And if I tell you a time, even an hour before, I'll never be on time. That's how I work. I don't have really scheduled training partners. I have people that pick up and train with me here and there. They kind of know just I'm on call, and, you know, just let me know an hour before, so of course they can get food in and get the training and where to meet me.
I'm done there. Let's do some dumbbells. Okay.
It's different when you don't have a team. have a structure where it's like, a time schedule where you're expecting people to show up, or some place is going to be open. Vegas, that's why I train here. It's the best place to train. It's like an athlete's playground here, pretty much. We train 24 hours a day and eat 24 hours, and nothing. There's no weather variables. Everything is just in tune with what you're trying to do, because you can just make it any kind of structure you want, and the result will be the same each day. Every day's similar. I don't listen to music, so like you hear these stories about guys listening to music, getting amped up and going. And for me, it's not really an emotional thing, where I'm very driven to do what I do, and I realize the job on hand, so I don't need that extra anger or any kind of frustration to train any harder. I surround myself with people sometimes. If I need extra motivation, I'll get someone to go in the gym and push me. I get some people to pick up some weights sometimes.
All right, one more set with that 10 on. Well, I'm going to do one more set with that 10.
Everyone knows what I do in the gym. Everyone always trains harder than you, no matter what I train as hard as him. I could be his size if I trained, if I had the opportunity to not work, and go to the gym. So you can never teach anyone training advice.
We talk about spending money for food and all this other stuff. I spend $1,000 a week on tissue work. It's crazy. Anyone that lifts weights, you're tearing down muscle tissue, so you're going to have breakdown of the tissue that's going to get adhesed to other tissue. So what we're trying to do is take the stress off that muscle, keep the muscle healthy and, of course, flexible, pliable, and it's going to help with muscle growth, it's going to help with flexibility, and it's going to help avoid any injuries and even fix injuries. When something's so tight, you're not going to get the blood in there like you need to. And that's what happens with a lot, my hamstrings get super tight, so when I train my hamstrings, I don't get the pump that I might get when I do chest or whatever else. You have super tight muscles and no flexibility and no stretching, your muscles aren't going to grow. This is going to help with all that. This guy's, I think he's a chiropractor by trade, but he's the specialist in this active release. He's probably the guy in Vegas that, I've been going to him since 2003 or 4. Has he been a staple of my success in my career? Absolutely.
So I want to do the hamstring and the flat, of course, and shoulder.
All right, very good.
Whatever you think feels. I had last week off from you, so if I do want to get this hamstring, that inside canal.
Where we were last time, way up top.
Yeah, get it in there, and then see how that feels. But you can feel there's a spot on the inside of the hamstring too. Feel kind of that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's actually you're pretty sore. Yeah. The normal person, if you're looking at the quad, only have a couple inches of tissue. If you look at these ham hocks, it's 30 passes to the 2. And he's getting bigger. So, Jay's dense. So what happens is, especially with inside that tissue, those fibers adhere and stick like a paintbrush with the fibers all here together. So as they start to stick and bind, it creates a scar. And what I'm doing is I'm finding those areas of concern. I'm taking a contact on them, and I'm holding a translated contact, so I'm not really compressing the tissue, even though there is some compression. You're trying to get those fibers to break free so that they can fill with blood.
Oh my goodness. Oh, right there. Oh. You have to laugh, it hurts so much, That felt amazing, though. As much as it hurt.
The biggest and most impressive thing is that each year it gets better. I deal with a lot of world-class athletes, thousands. A lot of guys post-season, there's a big change in their physique. Jay stays pretty much a specimen, if you will, year-round, looking great. Right in there, bud.
Yeah.
Is it the hamstring?
Yeah, that's a hamstring with a little bit of adductor. Good, come back.
I don't know what that looks like on camera, but it's like.
I can tell by how hard he's working.
But when
you raise your head, there's things
like
that
we've discussed this, the necessity of certain areas of my body, and he's like, you know, there's a lot of places where people won't, you know, go to really relieve what stuck, you know. He's like, we have to get in certain places. It may not be the most comfortable, but
You got to put in the time, and he does that, whether it be my table or the gym. I mean, you have to have a pretty trained eye to even see some of the areas of major injury. And Jay's had his fair share of injury. He's worked through it. If you were to look at the recovery rate in which he had on the bicep, you know, it's a little bit of luck, great surgical, but great rehabilitative effort. I mean, you just sometimes that you can't rehab. It's like putting together two ends of a paintbrush. That's a feat, man, right there. That's a huge feat.
See where it's for? You can see a little bit when I do a front lat sprint. See that indent? You can see it as. You can see in the right light. When you get under the stage lights, you can see it. Because the belly tore too. That's why they told me you'll never have flexion in your arm again. That's why I said I'm never going to compete again. They told me it would never be hard, it would be soft. So when it healed, the guy's like, I don't know how it healed, but he's like, we tied it super tight, so let's hope that it heals right, and it healed okay. And it was hard as a rock, like right after. It made it bigger, so now I gotta, the other ones, this one's gonna be bigger now. Go, up, yeah! Push it. The unique thing about me is I don't have a set schedule, so it really varies on day to day how I feel, and when I train is determined on how my body feels. Typically, I go by the basic guidelines. Is I try to eat 3 or 4 meals before I train for sure. Most importantly is my sleep. I need to make sure that I sleep enough, which is really only about 5 hours a night, 4 to 5 hours. But typically, I train really, really late. I avoid the crowds. I don't go by any set schedule, and I don't train on a specific body part schedule. I just train specifically how my body tells me that I need to. So if I'm scheduled to do back or chest on a certain day, I might switch it and do legs. Sometimes I group body parts differently. It kind of go by feel. If I'm really sore, I'll take a day off. I don't have a set day off schedule. Like most people take a Sunday off. I don't do that. I just regularly go by feel, and that's helped me gain great success all the way along my career. It seemed to be the best thing for me. Up, back! Let's go. Up, back! So I like to keep the weights very heavy and do lower reps. And obviously, what happens is when you train with as much volume as me, you can't do as many repetitions because you'll just burn yourself up. I mean, you have to have one or the other. Either you're going to do less weight, you know, more repetitions and less sets, or you're going to do a lot more sets, heavier weights, and less reps. So I choose to do the heavier weights, less reps, more volume, pump the muscle, keep filling it up, hit the angles. I wanted to have, obviously, freakish body parts. It was never really like, I want all eyes on me type of thing. It was never an ego, I want everyone to notice me. I wanted to look presentable where I walked around when I wasn't in contest shape and I just was big and round and people admired the muscles. I think pretty much I've secured the legacy on the competition stage. I really don't have any real specific goals as far as my physique, as far as, you know, I'm not going in the gym and saying, well, you know, I need to have my legs 2 inches bigger or anything like that. I think, you know, with me, it's more on the aspect of the legacy of Jay Cutler and where it's going to go from here.